This is TW Wrestling Talk here, dressed up somewhere ready to go. Um, just recapping what went down at Night of Champions, taking a look back. Um, put up my predictions video before the show, and you know there were some controversial match finishes and matches in general. For example, the main event, which ended in a draw between CM Punk and Cena. Ultimately, I picked CM Punk to. Well, I picked him to win, but I picked him to retain. Either way, I predicted that he would retain, which he did. Although the match was a draw, so I mean, look at that pick how you want to. And then the Divas Championship match also was interesting because Caitlyn was attacked from behind backstage, and it ended up that Eve took on Layla rather than Caitlyn. So there, that kind of canceled out my prediction that Caitlyn would win and take the Divas Championship. Although if you do look at it one way, Layla did lose the Divas Championship then to Eve. So I mean, I did predict that title would change hands, and I also predicted that the tag team titles would change hands, which they did. So yeah, both those the Divas Championship was another match that it was things were changed with it. So you look at it how you want, but the only match that I really totally picked wrong was the Orton and Ziggler match. I figured, Ziggler lost to Jericho at the last pay-per-view, even though the next night he beat him on Raw. And I figured, they should make Ziggler appear stronger, in the time leading up to when he's going to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase. So I just figured it was more logical that they would have Ziggler win that. And Orton, I mean, they haven't been having him do anything major as of late. So I mean, I just figured there was more, common sense, perhaps, in having Ziggler win. But they decided to have Orton, take the 2 out of 3 wins over the matches that they've had in recent weeks. So that's what happened there. But that was a good match. Orton was a little innovative outside the ring, and he caught Ziggler with a pretty interesting looking RKO that you didn't see coming. So that was nice. Divas Championship match is the Divas Championship match. Nothing great. Title change hands. That's about it. Kane and Daniel Bryan were on fire this show. Match-wise, they were. I mean, it wasn't anything great from a technical standpoint, from tag team match, but the whole element of them, of would they be able to get along, would they be able to work, cohesively, which in a sense, even though they weren't getting along, they were using each other, they're taking their anger out on each other, but for instance, Kane, Daniel Bryan threw Kane, on top of, pushed him off the top rope on a Kofi Kingston, and for Kane to get the pinfall. So, stuff like that was interesting, and there were a couple times where you thought, them not getting along was going to cost, them, but ultimately in the end it didn't, and WWE has been capitalizing on Daniel Bryan and Kane in recent weeks. And furthermore, later on in the show there was a pretty funny backstage segment. Daniel Bryan was going throughout the the corridor backstage, and holding his belt high, saying how he was the tag team champions, and he passed by AJ and eventually got to the anger management. I forget his name, but Kane and Daniel Bryan's anger management teacher, and then Kane came and said he was the tag team champions, and with AJ nearby, she was losing her mind over it, and And then, Kane, the anger management teacher, asked Daniel Bryan what he has to say, and he congratulates Kane. And then he asks the same question to Kane. Kane walks away for a few seconds, and he comes back with one of those big jugs full of what appeared to be purple Gatorade. Dumped it on Daniel Bryan, splashed some on AJ, and perhaps the anger management teacher. And Kane yells he's going to Disneyland. That was funny. Um, it just proves that no matter how, even if you're in your mid-40s, if you can still wrestle well and provide great entertainment, you deserve to be around. You should be around full-time entertaining the WWE universe, as they call it. And Kane does a good job of that. Even at his age, gotta hand it to Kane and Daniel Bryan. They helped make this pay-per-view pretty good, and they're making the tag team picture even better as a result. Intercontinental Championship Fatal 4-Way, predicted Miz would win, and he did retain. That was interesting also with the finish. Sin Cara pulled out a mask and put it on Miz, which looked funny, and ultimately, with the mask on, Miz was able to pick up the victory still. So that was interesting, I thought. Cesaro retained his U.S. title over Zack Ryder. Figured that would happen. I don't think they plan on pushing Zack Ryder anytime soon. If anything, they helped him win the Battle Royal, but title-wise, I don't see him getting a push anyways. Where Cesaro, he something more for him here. No Ryback on the show, it appeared. So, a little disappointing on that part, considering, fans are getting behind him. Wasn't part of SummerSlam either. World Heavyweight Championship, pretty good. The Brogue Kick was reinstated as legal right before the match. Booker T came out and announced that, and Sheamus used it. Right away. I was thinking, is this going to be another 18-second whooping on from the Brogue Kick on Del Rio, but Del Rio got out of the way, and Otunga took the Brogue Kick. And furthermore, down the road in the match, it was a pretty good match. There was some submission holds, and you were thinking, is he gonna tap out Sheamus, Del Rio, one way or the other? And at the end, Sheamus nailed the Brogue Kick and picked up the victory, retained his title, and I might be foreseeing right now a feud between Del Rio and perhaps Booker T, maybe him and his two sidekicks as of late, Otunga and his ring announcer, maybe with some kind of story against Booker T. Because I don't think we're going to see a fourth one-on-one match in a row with Sheamus and Del Rio for the title. So that's that. We'll wait and see with that. And of course, the main event, pretty interesting stuff there too. Cena was a little more innovative than usual, at least towards the latter parts of the match. But early on, still Cena shows signs of predictability in his wrestling. Even he had maybe 2 moves of offense, and already he was attempting an AA. So that kind of stuff, not very good. But Cena, towards later in the match, he was, becoming a little more innovative. CM Punk was great throughout the entire match. Paul Heyman was there, of course, playing a good standby role. But yeah, CM Punk interrupting Cena's attempts at signature maneuvers, which is good. and kind of pointing out in the middle of the match how, you know, the whole 5 moves of doom thing. That's good, and people who don't like Cena definitely get behind CM Punk for reasons like that. And yeah, CM Punk, how he held the belt up for quite some time before giving it to the ref before the match. That was great. That was funny. Yeah, I mean, great stuff from CM Punk. He attempted a rock bottom, multiple GTSs. Of course, Cena kicked out. You know, hopefully, you know, Cena does lose clean though in, you know, in perhaps this rematch that they have at Hell in a Cell further down the road. You can't. I mean, it was an interesting finish for sure. Essentially, Cena won. Essentially, he kind of beat himself if you look at it, and I think Cena's going to use that as ammunition toward, you know, for setting up a rematch, where CM Punk is going to use Cena, you know, maybe being stupid and not knowing the rules or something like that as ammunition. So I mean, these guys have, you know, for as far as promoing and story is concerned, they have ammunition against each other. So yeah, I mean, should lead for some interesting stuff leading up into Hell in a Cell, where they will most likely have a rematch. So yeah, I mean, it was pretty good. Of course, Cena, I guess, had his shoulders down on the mat. It's going to be interesting to see how he reacts. Everyone where I was watching it was well, not everyone, but a lot of, you know, you could tell the Cena fans were really happy, and then the ref gave the title to John Cena. I'm thinking, wait a minute, and yeah, that's, you know, the rest there is history then. So, but yeah, figured something like this was going to happen, that was going to keep this story moving, and it was in Cena's hometown. Cena's dad was there, so interesting stuff. We'll just have to stay tuned for, you know, for what's to come on Raw in the coming weeks for that. Overall, decent pay-per-view. Yeah, I mean, I think it was on par with SummerSlam. It was maybe lacking a little bit of star power, you know, missing Jericho, missing Brock Lesnar, of course, and Triple H, and missing Big Show. So there was a little less star power. But as far as, you know, the show goes, it was pretty good. Perhaps a four star, I think, might be appropriate for Night of Champions here. Good stuff. Alright, that'll wrap things up for TW Wrestling Talk. We'll be, you know, bringing up another video in the next few days for this week. Thanks for watching. Post comments, thoughts, questions, and just stay tuned for TW Wrestling Talk.